Caloroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I'm your host, Mark Francis. Princess Anne, famously known for her unflappable demeanour, reportedly reached her limit after a recent article labelled her a secret sex bomb of the 1970s. According to Women's Day, this piece, which compared her to Jane Fonda's iconic sci-fi look in Barbarella, was a step too far. While Anne is typically unfazed by gossip, the suggestion that she harboured sex bomb aspirations seemed to test even her patience, a source noted, especially since her nephew, Mike Tindall, and his wife, Zara, apparently couldn't resist some light-hearted teasing. Mike Tindall's new book, The Good, the Bad and the Rugby, Unleashed, written alongside his podcast's co-hosts James Haskell and Alex Payne, is making waves with readers eager for behind-the-scenes royal insights. Haskell describes how Mike handles criticism over his royal ties, saying, "To be fair to Tins, he gives 0 Fs about stuff like that." In one chapter, Haskell recalls when Mike's comments about Prince Harry drew some heat. At a live event, Mike shared a story from the 2003 Rugby World Cup, where he joked about pretending to fill in Harry before quipping that the royal family wanted to fill him in for real. Though this remark resurfaced in the media, Haskell noted that all context, sarcasm and humour were lost, especially when Prince Harry and Meghan's biographer Omid Scobie brought the incident up online. "Royal fans can be mental," Haskell added. Meanwhile, Alex Payne has revealed a cheeky side of Princess Anne that almost made it to air during a special episode of The Good, the Bad and the Rugby at Windsor Castle. Alex recalled an off-the-cuff remark from Anne that he felt could have boosted the royal family's Down with the Kids reputation. The moment unfolded when Prince William joked with Haskell about his role on the World Cup cruise ship, to which Haskell quipped, "Well, it sounds a bit like Anchor," with an implied twist. Anne, demonstrating impeccable comic timing, piped in, "Yes, I see that." The remark, which wasn't aired, left Alex wishing it had stayed in, imagining it would have done wonders for royal relatability. While Prince William's passion for Aston Villa gave the group lively material, Anne was deemed the episode's star of the show, with her sharp wit fully on display. In today's edition of If Harry and Meghan Did This, Pippa Middleton and James Matthews are facing backlash from villagers near their West Berkshire estate after putting up a no trespassing sign on a footpath that locals have used for years. The path, which runs alongside their driveway, had been accessible to the public during the tenure of the estate's former owner, designer Sir Terence Conran, who reportedly welcomed locals to use it. After moving into the 145-acre property in Kintbury 2 years ago, Middleton and Matthews decided to close off the path, submitting a highway declaration notice to West Berkshire Council in March of this year to mark it as private. This action came in response to a definitive map modification order from Eugene Futcher, chairman of the West Berkshire Ramblers, who sought to have the route recognised as a public right-of-way. Futcher explained, "There is evidence through witness statements of the public having had access to this lane going back to the 1960s. If it is blocked, it would not only restrict access to the network, but would also force walkers to go down a dangerous and busy road without pavements." According to the 1981 Agriculture Act, if a path has been used by the public for over 20 years, it may be claimed as a public right-of-way. Until a decision is reached, Middleton and Matthews have control over the path. On a slow news day, the tabloids couldn't make up their minds about which version of the Harry and Meghan saga to go with. On the one hand, the News.com's insider said, the former Suits star is aware of the fact that she's nothing without Prince Harry. Meanwhile, royal expert Hugo Vickers is out there saying, "I think inevitably, probably Prince Harry, and there'll come a time when she'll think that she doesn't need him." How slow is the news today? Well, slow enough that we can tell you about Queen Elizabeth's psycho corgis. Her corgis, while beloved, had an unpredictable nature that was nothing short of legendary, according to Craig Brown's book, A Voyage Around the Queen. The late monarch's first dog, Susan, was gifted to her in 1944, igniting a tradition that would see her with an incredible 83 corgis and dorgies over the years. Unfortunately, this lineage wasn't all tail wags and cuddles. They had a fierce streak, doling out bites to royals and even dignitaries who got a bit too close. Among their more memorable antics, these Corleones of the dog world were prone to gnawing on visitors, furniture, and even the odd postman. Princess Anne was once drafted to discipline her mother's cheeky doggy, Honey, but her softer touch proved no match. Even the Queen herself got caught in the crossfire, earning 3 stitches after a corgi scuffle in 1991. The palace even hired an animal psychologist in 1989 to try to tame the pack's biting habit, a gesture that was as much about damage control as it was about keeping the royal household bite-free. More palace in just a moment. Are you ready to enjoy the show without interruptions? For just $4.99 a month, you can unlock the commercial-free experience of this show and all the others on Caloroga Shark Media. If you're on Apple Podcasts, simply tap the banner in the app to upgrade instantly, and that comes with a 30-day free trial. If you're listening on Android or another app, just head to the link in the show notes to subscribe and dive into ad-free content today. In his upcoming ITV documentary, Prince William, We Can End Homelessness, the Prince of Wales directly addresses criticism regarding his lifestyle and commitment to ending homelessness, while highlighting his ambitious homewards program. In response to questions on his multiple residences and the 135,000-acre Duchy of Cornwall estate, William notes, I think if I answered every critic, I'd be here all day, but you know, the criticism drives you forward. It's right to question, but ultimately we are pushing forward to deliver change and hope and optimism into a world that, frankly, has had very little of it for a long time. The 2-part documentary, airing Wednesday and Thursday, captures William's first year after launching Homewards, his 5-year program aimed at demonstrating practical solutions to prevent homelessness. William aims to shift perceptions, saying, I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to solve the entire world's homelessness problems, but I am going to show people how to prevent homelessness. A particularly poignant moment occurs when William discusses homelessness with his 3 young children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, during their school runs. Recalling their initial reaction, William shares, the first few times I thought, do I bring this up, or should I wait and see if any of them noticed? And sure enough, they did, and they were just sort of in silence after I had said what was going on. He adds, I do think it's really important that you start those conversations when the children are small so that they understand the world around them and they're not just living in their own little worlds. In a newly released clip, William reflects on how his late mother, Princess Diana, first introduced him to the issue of homelessness. My mother took me to the passage. She took Harry and I both there. I must have been 11 at the time, maybe 10. I had never been to anything like that before, and I was a bit anxious about what to expect. My mother went about her usual, making everyone feel relaxed, having a laugh and joking with everyone. He says, I remember at the time kind of thinking, well, if everyone doesn't have a home, they're all going to be really sad. But it was incredible how happy an environment it was. I remember having some good conversations, playing chess, chatting, and that's when it dawned on me that there were other people out there who don't have the same life as you do. You know, when you're quite small, you just think life is what you see in front of you, and you don't really have concept to look elsewhere. It's when you meet people, as I did, who put a different perspective in your head and say, well, I was living on the street last night, and you're like, whoa, I remember that happening. It is believed by royal watchers that this is the first time William has mentioned Harry in 6 years. Some are considering it an olive branch, while others are completely dismissive of that notion. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalacintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and leave us a review or some stars if you're enjoying the show. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.